It's Friday evening, and I saw in the news today that legendary artist Neil Adams passed away, 80 years old. And I was reading people saying things on Twitter and Facebook, and it seems a lot of people had really good memories of him. And I have no doubt that he was a legendary artist. He helped bring Batman into the mainstream with his art and some other characters you drew. But my personal experience with Neil Adams, and I told you guys I would tell you all this story, was when he was at Compalooza a few years ago. He was pretty rude to me. I mean, to be honest, I was over at his table and looking at stuff and taking some interest. And I was even thinking about buying a print and having them sign it and stuff. And Michael was with me, and Michael was probably 6, 7 years old at the time. And Michael's flipping through the prints and looking at stuff. And Neil kind of snaps and goes, "Can you not have your kid touch anything if he's not going to buy something?" And I said, "Well, I was thinking about buying something, and, he's just a kid." He goes, "Well, he doesn't need to touch anything." I was like, wow, okay. So I just walked away from the table. And that was my very brief experience with the legendary, great Neil Adams. He was kind of an asshole. And, so rest in peace, I suppose. And I've met a lot of artists, and man, George Perez, is fighting cancer right now, was fantastic to me, very generous. Jim Lee, when I met him, was fantastic. Writer Chris Claremont. I mean, I've never met an artist ever that was rude like that. It was just, so that was my experience with Neil Adams. But hey, he lived a long career. His art's still there. And if people like him, that's great. To me, I won't forget my one bad experience with him. And that's just me. But this is
never meet your heroes.
That's what they say. And this is the Rebel Radio Podcast. This is Mark. I said that already.
But yeah. And this is Matt.
This is Long.
Long, the counter-terrorist dude.
Long, the airplane pilot.
There we go.
That's right, man. We'll get into the feature film a little bit, but I forgot that Long had never seen Die Hard 2 completely.
The NYPD cop that didn't do anything.
Dennis Franz.
Probably the most accurate portrayal of a police officer on film I've ever seen. No, I'm joking.
But,
one of those hard-nosed NYPD dudes, for sure.
Dude's like totally opposite of the... what's the original cop's name in Die Hard?
Al.
The one who really helped out.
Carl,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I thought it was Al. Was it Al or was it Carl?
Al.
Yeah, it was Al.
Yeah.
The actor's name is Carl, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, the actor's name's Carl. Sorry.
So, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Wonderful.
No, I'm not even gonna.
Peachy.
You're peachy. Yeah, fucking outfit you have on.
That's right. I'm glad that you're fixated on what I wear.
It's fucking orange. It's distracting.
So you have Longhorn orange. Everest ain't too far off.
I'm not wearing Longhorn orange.
Good point.
I'm just saying you have it. There's an orange star on your hat.
Not the same.
You like orange. Admit it. You like orange. Orange, you glad it's not pink? There you go. There's a play on words for you right there.
Now that we made it through our April comedy month, we are, pretty much officially on the countdown to 300 episodes, which is quite incredible, I think.
Absolutely.
When we started this, I don't think 6 years later, 7 years, however long it's been, I really didn't know if we'd get this far or what we would do. And we're almost there. So I don't want to jump the proverbial shark till we get to 300, but we're getting closer. We've got some good movies the next few weeks. They're going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And so I'm looking forward to it. And then more good movies after 300 as we keep on trekking forward for the rest of this year. And Compalooza in July, I'm sure we'll do some kind of show there. It probably won't be a regular episode. It'll be something fun, kind of like we did last year. And so things to look forward to in the next few weeks as we get to 300 episodes. And it's no secret that we're doing a Return of the Jedi for our 300th episode. And it's going to be a lot of Star Wars same weekend that Obi-Wan Kenobi hits Disney Plus. And So there'll be a lot of cool Star Wars shit to talk about that episode here in a few weeks, and possible surprise guests on the show. So we'll see. No one famous. We don't know anybody famous. Well, I guess this person might be.
Well, it was supposed to be Neil Adams, but
but he fucking died.
Oh. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry. Bad joke.
Hey, too soon. Man, I just, I've met a lot, like I said, in my experiences working with Compalooza, being part of their staff and working, whether it was a blog for them or now it's a podcast program, it's like, I used to get a little nervous about meeting celebrities. Not really starstruck. It's just like I get a little tongue tied, but I've gotten easier with it over the years when I do meet them and talk to them. And vast majority of them are really nice people, man. They're just like us. They just happen to be artists or actors, and maybe they make a little more money than us. And so when you have a bad experience, I'm the type of person that brief bad experience is going to put a bad taste in my mouth, and it's hard for me to forgive that because I'm. Matt, you work in a business where you've had to hire people before, and what does they always say? First impression is everything, is it not? I mean, and my first impression of Neil Adams was like, what a fucking douche, So, that's just the way it was. But hey, it is what it is. And
it is what it is.
But for every asshole, though, there's people like Ernie Hudson, who was super nice. Tony Todd, as scary as he is on screen as Candyman, he was a super nice guy to talk to. Tony Todd was really kind of a big teddy bear, So when the few minutes I spoke to him, most of them are there because they know that they have fans and people who want to talk to them. And I guess Neil Adams just couldn't deal with a 7-year-old boy who touched his portrait that it probably cost him $2 to print. It's like.
I guess it's like, the get off my lawn kind of thing. But he didn't have a lawn. He had stuff,
Yeah. I mean, in an industry such as comics that struggle to survive at times because of the changes in digital art and digital access to things, you want to entertain the children that are going to be the next generation and are going to read these things and enjoy these comic stories that we grew up reading. Like I already told Michael this summer, he is on every week he's going to have a different trade paperback to read. I'm going to get him caught up on some of the classic stuff because I think it's time. He needs to read that stuff instead of being on the PlayStation all the time. Read these stories that we're witnessing on the big screen and things like that. I mean, we're a week away from another Marvel film comes out next week with Doctor Strange, and I don't know when I'm going to see it. I have such a busy weekend this weekend and next weekend. I got to figure out when I'm going to see it. So it might be the first Marvel movie I might actually have to see it a week after it comes out. I don't know. We'll see. See how the weekend
I started Jake off with graphic novels. He just finished Mouse. So I'm going to have to get him the second one.
Isn't that a little heavy for his age?
He's I don't know. I've been giving him stuff that's that I've read in like high school and college, and I think it's helped him. He's in 4K level classes next year, and
it's not all. But okay, but listen, here's my thinking on that. Don't always mistake what level classes he in is for what a child can comprehend as far as what those books mean. Because like Mouse is some heavy duty stuff, man. It's like, why don't you have him read some X-Men books? It's like,
yeah. It's like, no, I get it. It's very adult, very much adult.
Yeah, I mean,
Mouse. Huh?
Yeah, school smart is different than picking up on things that deal with the Holocaust and things like that. So
yeah,
I don't know. It seems like, I mean, I don't know. He's a couple years older than Michael. He should be like Superman and Batman, dude. It's like, just feels like more appropriate when it comes to graphic novels. So yeah.
No, I get you. I've tried. He was interested in them, and now, I asked him about electives, and I think I forget what class he was able to choose, And he said he didn't want to focus on it because it wasn't relevant to what he wanted to do in the future. And he wanted to focus on things that was going to further whatever he was going to do later in life. So he's very he's very mature for his age. Surprising to me. I think he's more mature than me by far.
That doesn't take much.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. But he's like, Grandma learned how to, Grandma, she got far in her career by speaking Spanish, right? And it's like, yeah, she did. And he's like, well, then that's what I want to do. I want to learn, things that are going to help me later on. And I was like, wow. I was like, okay.
But he needs to make sure he doesn't forget to have a childhood, though.
Yeah, true, man.
It's most of shit. Here's the thing about, you guys know this, most of the shit we learn in junior high and high school has nothing to fucking do with what you do in the future. It's like, and unless you're a miraculously great sports player, that's probably the only thing that's used. I mean, that's just honest. It's more college and beyond what you do. Everything you do in junior high and high school really doesn't fucking matter. It matters, I guess, to get into a school, but overall, it's not really going to, shape what you do in the future that much. And that's why I always feel like school should be shortened. I think 10 months is almost too long. It's like, for what? For shit you're not even going to use down the road, It's like, these kids or to go to like a system like they do overseas where they go to school for 3 months and they're off for 3 months, So
I do agree that they're taking stuff out of school that, I don't see wood shop as much anymore,
I still have
stuff
it.
where you actually, learn stuff.
No, they have that. Michael's in the engineering class right now, which is like shop. So
really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
So, but anyway, let's get to today's show. Download this where we tell people what we watched, streamed, played this week, and I'll go first, man, because I really didn't watch much. I've gotten a little. I haven't caught up on Moon Knight. I've had such a busy week, but man, But I watched Batman again. I'm really obsessed with this new Batman film. I can comfortably say now that it's my favorite Batman movie. And
oh wow!
And I just think it's so good, man. The more I watch it, I keep picking up on stuff, and I just think it's fantastic. I don't know what else to say about it other than things we've already said. I think that Matt Reeves' direction, I think, is excellent. If I had any beef with it, brighten it up a little bit. I mean, there's scenes that are really like shadowy and dark, and I understand it's Batman, it's dark, but still, I want to see what's going on too. It's like, could you use a few lights? Is it going to kill you, Matt Reeves, to use a few fucking lights on these scenes?
Yeah, man. That's
probably my only beef with it, man. I think it's such a good Batman story. I like Pattinson's take. I'm really digging it, man. I like it a lot. And I still love The Dark Knight as well, but I think this might be my favorite just because it pops off the comics so much, the things that they pulled from this. And Zoe's Catwoman is so good. I mean, the more I watch it, the more I like her part. And that's just how I feel about it. Other than that, man, I feel like I watched something else, but I just didn't have a lot of time this week. And, unfortunately, hopefully this coming now. Baseball season will be over tomorrow, whether we win or lose, since it's the championship game for White's playoffs. So I'll have a little more evenings to watch some things after tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I hope that Robert Pattinson he really wants to see Court of Owls, some kind of adaptation of Court of Owls on this big screen. So maybe, hopefully, some element of that, story arc shows up in the sequel.
Yeah. Well, I hold your thought on that because I have the sequel in the news, and I've got some thoughts on that too as well. I agree with you along what you're saying, so I have some thoughts.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah. I'll go next. Let's see, the day after our last recording on Saturday, me and my brother, we made a deal with each other, and I said, okay, if you watch Batman, I'll watch Dune, okay? So he watched Batman, so it was my turn to watch Dune because he loved Dune a lot, and he wanted to hear my thoughts about it. So I watched it the next day. The about 2.5, 3 hour movie. But I have to say though, I really, really, really liked it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I know you weren't a big fan of it, Mark. I know you said you liked it, but it wasn't quite where you didn't like it as much as you thought you would, right?
I think it's visually striking.
Yeah.
But I feel like I know it's a part one of a part two. I get that, but I felt like I watched 2.5 hours and it went nowhere. I felt like, oh, that's it. I felt like all that happened and it was for nothing. Like a great cliffhanger to me should be a great cliffhanger. And to this, it just sort of ends and it feels like we accomplished nothing in 2.5 hours. That's kind of how I felt about it. It's well acted. It looks great. I mean, it's a great looking movie. And I will watch part two because I do want to see how it ends. But I just felt like part one was a long 3 hours of nothing.
Yeah. Or was it also because some of the tropes in the film? It's like, so influential that it's familiar at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. That's for me. I could see how a lot of its influence has, influenced modern sci-fi, because a lot of modern sci-fi is inspired by some elements of Dune, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I do love the world building in the film. I loved how they were setting up the chess pieces of the difference of the houses as well.
Right.
The Bene Gesserit being their own little religious sect, spiritual sect. And then there's the the Harkonnens. I like. I don't know about you, but I still like the original Dune's pronunciation of the Harkonnen house. It's not Harkonnen seems a bit not very punchy. But I feel that Harkonnen, that's a more punchy way of pronouncing that name. But Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Harkonnen, man, he was pretty creepy, and you could get a sense of depravity in that one.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on behind the closed doors there. I do like Paul Atreides. I think he strikes a really good balance of young, ambitious prince versus, and there's a hint of darkness in his eyes, and Leto, played by Moon Knight himself, Oscar Isaac. He was really good as Leto or Atreides. But yeah, the visuals are great. It was kind of like a modern day Lawrence of Arabia in a lot of ways. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Yeah, it's a great cast.
I give it a 9 personally. Probably 8.5 or 9.
Yeah.
As far as score.
That's a great cast. It looks great. I think you're right though. Like I've seen the David Lynch version, and I saw the Sci-Fi Channel series, so I guess I knew the story already, and I think that's part of it. I don't find this. I do agree with you. The world building is good, but overall, I don't find the story all that interesting.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's what takes me out of it. But I can appreciate the filmmaking aspect of what Dennis Villeneuve. How do you say his last name? Villeneuve. How he put it together. I mean, it's a great looking movie, and it won Oscars for costumes and special effects, and quite deservedly so. So. And I guess part 2's next year, I think. Yeah, I think they said December 2023. I think I read somewhere they plan to start filming this summer. So,
yeah, looking forward to it. They'll start filming in July.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, because I think it was originally they had talked about maybe filming them back to back, and then they decided not to do that. And, so who knows? Matt, what'd you watch? Don't tell me Whataburger commercials.
Yep, that's it. No, but I actually wanted to. The kids wanted to watch some cartoons, and they, like the kid, my younger ones that are cognizant of what's on the TV, Joseph and Luke, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to make them watch anime. It's been a while since I've had them watch anime, so I started up a Funimation subscription, and I put on some Yu Yu Hakusho.
I'm amazed you already have Funimation.
Yeah.
Oh well, you shouldn't have. You should have went with Crunchyroll because Funimation's going out of service soon.
Really?
They're moving all of their library over to Crunchyroll.
Oh,
that's
really?
why I've been seeing.
Because I have Funimation. I didn't know they were moving though.
Yeah. So all of their library is going to Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll's a lot cheaper than Funimation.
Oh,
okay.
Well, damn. Well, Funimation's only $5. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
maybe it'll be a wash. Same price, maybe.
Yeah,
but
it's about $7 actually for Crunchyroll.
But yeah, so I started with that, and they stopped watching after maybe 2 episodes, and I kept on. So I rewatched the Dark Tournament segment of Yu Yu Hakusho because Justin Cook's going to be at Comic Palooza. And I love his voice acting on Yusuke. I think Yusuke is one of the toughest, most badass anime characters ever. Because he's just like he's like this street punk, but he's a cool street punk, and very well voice acted by Justin Cook. And then I decided to give something new a try. I've been on the fence about watching My Hero Academia. And I started watching it, and
it's good.
I kept watching it. Yeah, I like it.
I haven't seen it from the beginning, but I've watched a couple of movies with Michael, and it's actually pretty entertaining. Yeah.
Gorgeously animated.
Yeah.
You've seen it, Long?
I've seen the first 30 episodes.
Nice.
Yeah, and it has zero filler because...
That's about where I am.
Yeah, they do not have any filler because they wait till like a set amount of volumes are released, then they adapt it. So, yeah.
Yep, I have to agree with that. It's not a lot of filler. I like the premise. If you're listening and you don't know what My Hero Academia is about, imagine if Superman couldn't hold his Kryptonian form on Earth for more than 3 hours, and he was slowly losing his ability to be Superman, and he had to pass his power on to someone who was just this big Superman fan and wanted to be just like him but had no powers. And this guy All Might, voiced by Chris Sabat, Comic Palooza alumni, also voiced Kuwabara in Yu Yu Hakusho, and of course Piccolo and Vegeta in the Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super series, voices All Might. And Justin Cook actually voices a character. I saw him as a producer, and then I saw that he actually voice acted a character on there. And, he's not the main character, but, that's understandable. He's like almost 50 now. So. But it's a cool story about a boy, who inherits this great power and is trying to learn how to use it, and is now went from being picked on to now he's holds his own with other superheroes, and he's got a rival, and you get to see him go through school and try and contain this power and grow into his own. And I like it. I'm where you are, Long, pretty much with it. I think I'm on like episode 29 or so almost.
Yeah,
I'm maybe on episode 30.
I haven't picked it up in 2 years, so just keep you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I like it, man. Some of it is, some of it I feel is somewhat Naruto-ish to me. Because Naruto was like, I don't care how strong you are, I'm going to give it my all, and I feel like that's how the main character Deku is, Midoriya. But I like it. And that's really all I watched. I watched like a bunch Sunday and Monday, and then I've been watching like 2 or 3 episodes a day. except for today. I had to watch Die Hard because I realized, hadn't watched Die Hard 2 all week. gotta make sure it's fresh in my mind.
Cool.
Yep.
Let's get into today's feature film then. You segued us in there, Matt, sort of unexpectedly, into a movie that we're going to do like a couple years ago and never did, and that is Die Hard 2. We covered the original Die Hard very early on in the reboot of the show. It was like maybe episode 88, 89, around there, and we just never got around doing the sequel. And I guess I'll summarize it. Then want to hear Long's initial take, since it's the first time he actually watched this all the way through. Basically, John McClane is waiting for his wife to arrive at Dulles Airport for Christmas, and he ends up being the wrong guy in the wrong place in the wrong time once again, as terrorists have hijacked the airport essentially through the means of technology, because they're not on site hijacking it, to try to rescue a general that's being flown there to be taken to prison, essentially. And of course, John has to find a way to help save the day. There's some plot twists in this one that are they try to take the sequel and make it a little bit bigger, a little bit more not as claustrophobic as the first one, by adding multiple characters and some more plot twists. But to me, I kind of like this Die Hard movie. It's kind of my guilty pleasure, the Die Hard series. I think it's very 90s. It has a very, we talked about this before, movies that we do that are like 89, 1990 that kind of segue into that 1990 style of action films. And this is very much one of those where like the bad guys are walking down the hallway, they're all lined up together, and they're all walking together, the music is playing. It has a real 90s feel to it. But it's a fun Die Hard movie. We'll talk about it a little bit more as we get going along. Man, you had never seen Die Hard 2 all the way through till this week?
Yeah. They're definitely repeating the whole Christmas theme in this one, aren't they? Well, it's not really Christmassy because it's more of a snow backdrop.
Yeah, it's more just snow. They more just mention that it's Christmas Eve. That's about it. And then after that, it's kind of like they don't really mention it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but the action is wild. I forgot. Is it directed by John McTiernan again?
No, Rennie Harlan.
Okay.
Yeah, McTiernan.
Street 4.
Yeah, it was a scheduling conflict, so McTiernan could not come back. But
McTiernan was directing Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, he was doing Hunt for Red October, so he wasn't able to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. There are some scenes in this film that are. I mean, I like it overall, but I don't like it as much. I don't love it like I do the first Die Hard film.
Right.
It felt a little bit more frustrating to watch compared to the first Die Hard. The first Die Hard was very suspenseful. Had some moments of suspense, right? But in this film, it felt like, okay, he keeps getting stonewalled. Maybe even more so than in the first film, the Carmine, the cop, he was an asshole.
Yeah.
That cop's younger brother was an asshole to him. He's trying to warn people of the plots going on, but he keeps getting stonewalled by the airport authorities.
Yeah, even Fred Thompson's airport runner kind of stonewalls him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like he's being denied left and right. That's the part that frustrated me the most. Hey, Walter Peck is back.
Yes.
Yeah, Walter Peck.
How convenient that he's in the same fucking airplane as John's wife.
I know. I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit with playing with the coincidences. There was one scene that was like, I was like, whoa, they actually went there, And that's the whole, they crashed an entire airplane full of people, raising the stakes. That's pretty effective in a way.
Originally, they wanted it to be a FedEx plane. They didn't want it,
But, man, I don't know. It just feels, even though the action was solid, it doesn't really. It's just more violent for sure. A lot more gore in this one. The whole ice picks to the eyeball thing was like, that's a little horror movie.
The neck.
Yeah. Gosh, there was another.
The conveyor belt.
The conveyor belt was another one, and then kicking the the soldier into the
airplane
jet. Yeah, to the jet. The jet engine. It's like that's a bit excessive, But it felt like some of those deaths felt like very horror movie-ish, slasher-ish. Like John McClane's, give him a hockey mask, right?
He's Jason.
Yeah, exactly. But man, I tried to go, watch this with an open mind, and when I finished the film, it felt like, okay, that's why I never went back to rewatch this film, because I've seen bits and pieces of this movie, but never the whole movie until this week. Die Hard, I've always had the desire to, I would like to rewatch that, or when the TV's on, I'll stay on and watch it. Die Hard with a Vengeance, I would go back and watch it too. But this one didn't really give me the desire to rewatch it or pursue it, until this week,
Yeah, no.
So, that's how I feel about it. Like, but when the movie ended, I do like the happy ending. That blonde reporter was a trip. I'll have your baby if you give me the story. It does have some funny one-liners. I'll give it that too.
When you walk through a metal detector, what goes off first, the lead in your ass or the shit in your head?
Yeah.
That was the director. Bruce didn't want to have any comical lines. And the director, having directed a Freddy movie, a very comical, person front and center, said that McClane was now the audience's friend after watching the first one. And he's like, John, you got to be their friend too. So he's like, I'll make a deal with you. We'll film as many takes doing the serious action stuff that you want to do, but you've got to film one take for every scene that you do of my comedy input. And so anything that was good that they could put in there, they did from those scenes.
Yeah. It was also a little bit of the success of the Lethal Weapon movies, because Lethal Weapon 2 added more comedy into it. And audiences were suddenly wanting to see these action movies like with comedy. And what's so funny is because Bruce almost played Martin Riggs, and Mel Gibson almost played John McClane. So they ended up having the opposite parts. And in 20th Century Fox felt that they needed a successful action comedy movie. So it was a little bit of the studio, like you said, and Rennie Harlan pushing him for that. But it's funny. I agree with almost everything you say, Long. But I've always called this the convenient Die Hard movie. Seems like everything happens very conveniently, where the bad guys are plans, or Bruce being in the right space at the right time. But I think that's also what makes it kind of fun, is because it's not as tight and intense as the first one. It's more definitely a standard kind of action film. There's no doubt the entire movie, that John's going to save the day. It's that James Bond syndrome, the hero's going to succeed. And it's about going on this journey with him to see how he succeeds at the end of it. And definitely some wild action in this, from the shootout on the snowmobiles to the lighting of the fire, the jet fuel at the end of the movie, which has been debunked many times by Mythbusters, saying that wouldn't happen. But it looks fucking cool in a movie, And I too also felt weird watching, you watch some of these movies post or pre 9/11 where airplanes crash, and you don't think about it the time you watch it. When you think now, you just kind of subconsciously think, well, that's kind of weird to see in a movie, because it used to happen quite frequently, and 9/11 has changed that, where we don't see planes crash in movies as often by terrorists, so it has changed our outlook on how they do films. But I like the one-liners they put in this movie. They're used right. They made sure the trailer had the line, I'm the wrong guy, the wrong place, the wrong time, because that's how they wanted to sell the movie. And it worked. This movie actually was more successful at the box office than the original Die Hard.
Yeah. And Siskel liked it more.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Yes, it was critically well received overall. Like I said, Siskel liked it more, but most critics did like the original more. But this one was, and Die Hard fans over the years have kind of warmed up to this one too, because a lot of people didn't like it. I'm curious too, like, it's like the posters and the material for this say Die Hard 2, Die Harder, but like on IMDb, it's not listed like that. It's not listed like that on the DVD, like in the movie, but like the DVD sets will say it, and like on Vudu it'll say it. So like, is the official subtitle Die Harder or not? It's like, I think it was mostly used overseas.
Maybe so.
Well, it's a really bad subtitle, to be honest.
Yeah. Die
Hard 2, Die Harder. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
A lot of character actors in this movie. Dennis Franz playing the cop who, like we said earlier, does absolutely nothing but curse at people and yell the entire movie.
Yeah. NYPD Blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's completely pointless in this film. Great character actor Fred Thompson in this movie, of course, went on to be a very famous U.S. senator. I always liked Fred Thompson on screen. I don't know why. I guess because he's a good old boy from Texas and all that, and it's always good to see him and stuff. He'll pop up on things now and then. And you're like, oh, there's Fred Thompson. And I like him in this movie. Matt, you're pretty big. You're like my brother. You're a pretty big Bruce Willis Die Hard fan, and do you like this movie? I mean, you haven't really gotten your thoughts.
I do. Actually, I do like it. I went a long time thinking Die Hard with a Vengeance was the sequel, because when I was little, I felt like Die Hard and Die Hard with a Vengeance was all I caught on TV, and then I think like 10 years ago, maybe I saw Die Hard 2 for the first time. And I thought it was solid. I don't like it more than Die Hard with a Vengeance, but it's not a bad action film. It's entertaining. It's like y'all said, the one-liners are great. And it does end with a happy ending. But it's I think there's only one Die Hard movie that we scratch our heads on, and that's Die Hard 5. But all the other ones are great and entertaining. I like it. Like this movie. Very entertaining. I think it's better than some of the action sequels it's compared to. It's compared to RoboCop 2 sometimes.
Really?
And sometimes. At times it was in 1990, I think is where I saw that it was being compared to the second one. But now, like you said, it's a lot of people have warmed up to this film. It was on sale on Prime for like $5, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it. You know what? I don't have many movies on Prime. I was like, I'm gonna buy this one and add it to my collection. But yeah, man, good stuff.
You just want it for the William Sadler naked fighting at the beginning of the movie.
Yep, that's it.
Rudy Harden did that on purpose. He felt like, you know what? What's a way to capture the bad guy right away? You make him naked.
Yep. And they filmed that scene after everything was done, and he got with a trainer and got into shape at the end.
It's like, why not?
And he would go on to be Death and the President in Iron Man 3.
Yeah. William Sadler's had a good career playing various just different characters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not, I think that might be what holds us back a little bit too, is he's not Hans Gruber. He's not as strong of a villain as the great Alan, his name's escaping me.
Alan Rickman.
Rickman. He's not as strong of an actor as him. So I think that holds Die Hard 2 back a little bit. You tend to get these villains in this film are a little more cookie cutter. I think that's fair to say. It doesn't mean they're bad actors, but they're just your typical bad guys trying to make some money, save a general.
I do like the twist though.
Oh,
when they discovered the twist with the blue ammo blanks were the real ones.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No twist. Yeah.
And then John Amos being the general, being a traitor.
Yeah, I agree. That was a good twist. It's nice to see Franco Nero in a movie. Famous spaghetti western actor playing the general, and so it is kind of somewhat cookie cutter villains and a twist. It's a nice twist, but maybe not completely unexpected twist. Now, if you look back on it, so I think that maybe, and then you come back to Die Hard with a Vengeance, and you get a really strong villain in it again with Jeremy Irons being, Hans's brother. So it brings it back around to the first one. So I think that maybe is what holds Die Hard 2 back just a little bit, but it doesn't make it not be a fun action movie. I like I like some of the ridiculous. This one's definitely, Die Hard is pretty ridiculous in some sense, but yet it's still kind of grounded in reality, where this one is definitely takes his reality a little bit to a new level. Where he ejects out of the booster seat before the grenades went off. Because my first thought is those grenades have really long fucking fuses on them,
Mm-hmm.
just so that the hero can conveniently escape. But it makes for a cool scene where he's flying up on the fire and screaming, and he parachutes down. And then fighting on the wing of the plane at the end, and opening the fuel tank, and then his famous yippee-ki-yay motherfucker, and he sets it on fire and it blows up the plane. And who knows if that would really happen or not, but it looks cool. And this was one of the first. It's interesting. Just as early as 1990 was the first where studios cable was starting to get real big. TBS, and this was one of the first movies that was bought by a cable station to air on television, and TBS aired it, and they edited it with voices that didn't even go with the voice. Like Bruce Willis's voice would just suddenly change, and he says, "Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon." There's not even a character named Falcon in the movie. So, how far we've come with dubbing over the years in just 30 years.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think about just as far back as 1990, which isn't that far away. Rated R films were just starting to get aired on cable television stations. And now you can all three of us could turn on cable right now and go to FX or AMC and find something probably very adult on TV. But back then that was still kind of a new thing,
Yeah. This movie almost was rated X. They were in danger of getting an X rating. Yep.
Because it's violent, but it's not that violent.
Yeah.
Like for talk about late 80s, early 90s movies, you mentioned RoboCop 2 and RoboCop and Predator were all more violent than this.
Yeah. I don't know if that was that's what I read, but I don't know if that was just a concern over the producer, Joel Silver, or if it was, something that they were given an ultimatum for. Mm-hmm. You talk about twists. Another twist is Doug Patterson. He originally wrote the script, and then Fox gets a new president, and he gets fired. his script gets greenlit, and then gets fired, and they put in D'Souza, and D'Souza tweaked a few things and got credit for the screenplay for the writing. Right,
and then of course everybody knows that Die Hard is loosely based on a book called 58 Minutes from 1978. And they use elements, I guess when I was reading, they use elements from the book in Die Hard 1 and in Die Hard 2, I guess. So there's parts of the book in both movies.
Yeah. It's said to have that, and then, a little bit from Commando, and then a little bit from the Iran-Contra.
Yeah.
But mainly 58 Minutes because of the whole situation with the planes.
Yeah.
The plane can only be in the air for 58 minutes before it runs out of fuel. Mm-hmm. With the main character's wife on board.
Yeah. Man, before we rank this movie long, any other thoughts from you, man, on this? Since it's your first time viewing this.
The film was fun, but hollow for me. But that's fair. Such a high bar that the first movie set,
Yeah.
So and I'm sure if this movie was released on its own, without having a predecessor to live up to. I think this would have been a really good movie on its own. And Rennie Harlan is kind of an anomaly for action direction, you know.
Right.
His best movie was probably The Long Kiss Goodnight, right?
I think so.
With his wife Gina Davis.
Yeah.
But everything else is kind of middling. I don't know. His movies have always been. They could be great. They could be great, but you only get good. I don't know if that makes sense. A lot of potential in his film, so they don't really quite stick the landing.
Yeah, it makes sense. So,
I mean, Deep Blue Sea is another one. I mean, yeah. I mean, concept of genetically modified sharks, but it still kind of rings hollow to me. I don't know, something about his directing style that just doesn't resonate with me at times. You know, it's like one of those cases where he has really good scripts, but the direction is just not up to snuff, you know?
Yeah. So, that's fair enough.
I have to look up his filmography.
Yeah. I just looked at
this director?
I just looked at it. You kind of hit the nail on the head. Long Kiss Goodnight and Die Hard 2 are probably his biggest successes.
Yeah. Well, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was actually didn't do too bad.
No, but I mean, as far as how good the films are, those are probably the best. Yeah, that's fair enough. But you've seen With a Vengeance and Live Free and Die Hard, right? Long, you've seen the other Die Hard movies.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we rank it, when I saw Live Free or Die Hard, I didn't like it very much in the theaters. And then I rewatched it and I appreciate it more. I think because your initial viewing of it is you're thinking it's going to be like Die Hard. With a Vengeance, it's going to be real tight and real, intense. But then we sit back and accept that it's okay to open up John McClane's world a little bit more because it would be silly to have him be in the same situation all the time. I think it works better. And I like Live Free or Die Hard more upon second and third viewings. Yeah. But my initial
Cliffhanger's not that bad.
Yeah, Cliffhanger was Rennie Harlan. But but we won't talk about Good Day or Die Hard. That was a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Bruce Willis said.
I've already forgotten about it.
Even Bruce Willis said it was a piece of crap. So but I still like Die Hard too. I think I can comfortably give it a B, maybe even a B plus. I think it's a fun action movie.
I say B plus.
I give it a B minus.
Yeah, it's fun. All right. Well, it is time for. We had a draw last week on Duel of the Nerds, and this segment is starting to get a little behind the scenes controversial. We'll let you people know between the three of us. We're about ready to throw hands. And so we don't know how much longer this segment might last, but that's okay. We're having fun with it because
not because of the topics, but because
we value our
the choice of topics.
We don't want to kill each other.
We go into debates about the topics rather than about the topics themselves.
But we will keep it around through at least episode 300. That we will give you.
Yeah.
So Matt, you're the host again this week since it was draw last week. What is the topics today?
I didn't even study for it.
Neither did I, Long. So
yeah.
So Die Hard was obviously a groundbreaking film, and it sparred movies. Not saying that, these movies are like, oh, well, we need to do our version of Die Hard. You had Die Hard on a skyscraper, Die Hard on a bus, Die Hard on a boat, Die Hard on a plane. So with that being said, we have the battle of Die Hard movies. We have Air Force One, which Mark will be representing, versus Speed, which is going to be represented by Long. Die Hard on a bus versus Die Hard on a plane. Which one is better?
Oh, I guess I'll go. I keep yielding. I guess I'll go first, man.
Go first.
Man, when you texted this out, I saw Air Force One one time, and I know I saw it in theaters because I just remember seeing it with my dad or something, and I enjoyed the film. Don't get me wrong, and I think I've seen bits and pieces over the years. I think what I'll say in defending this movie against Speed is that, first off, it stars Harrison Ford, who at this point in his career was Indiana Jones, Han Solo, Rick Deckard. Harrison Ford was a bad motherfucker. The only bad motherfucker on the planet that could play the president and take out a group of terrorists led by the great Gary Oldman. So this movie already has all that going for it. What is Speed having going for it? At that point when it came out, nothing. It had Dennis Hopper. No one knew who Keanu Reeves really was. I mean, he had a couple of hit movies. No one really knew who Sandra Bullock was. So, Air Force One's already got the leg up on it just because it's got Harrison fucking Ford. And when Matt gave me this, at first I was like, you know what? I've only saw the movie once. I can't defend this movie. But then I started thinking, yes, I can, because Harrison Ford is one of my all-time favorite actors. I would trust Harrison Ford to take any movie and make it better than the other movie it's going up against. And that's not saying he hasn't done some bad movies in his career, because he has. Everyone has. But it's still Harrison fucking Ford. Indiana Jones, Han Solo, and the President of the United States. And if you're thinking about actors out there in the world that could be the president, Arnold Schwarzenegger could be the president. Harrison Ford could be the president. And maybe Robert Duvall or Clint Eastwood. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of actors that could really be the president. And so you buy Harrison Ford in this role. And Gary Oldman is one of those great actors that can be a hero like Jim Gordon, but he also plays great villains. We've seen Oldman play a great villain in The Fifth Element, The Book of Eli, and he plays a great villain in this movie too. And I think that's what makes Air Force One. I like Air Force One because I feel the intensity of it inside an airplane is even a little more intense than even Speed, because it definitely has that Die Hard in a plane feel to it, because he has saved the day from, I don't remember the exact plot of Air Force One. I think they take it over and they're going to kill the president or crash it or something like that. You know, it's Die Hard in an airplane. But I don't know what else to say about it. I mean,
30 seconds.
I'm good. I'll let Long talk about Speed.
All right. Long, your opening argument.
Speed. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, I guess. No, I'm joking.
Wow.
Well, Speed's a better Die Hard-esque movie, because instead of relying on moments of suspense, this, is peppered throughout in Air Force One. Well, this movie is pretty much mostly about suspense. It basically has you glued to your seat, hoping that nothing bad happens to those passengers on the bus. And the simple premise of keeping the bus above a certain speed limit before it explodes is a really simple but effective, easy to understand concept. Really good chase sequences. One that you had to kind of suspend your disbelief a bit. And I'm talking about that jump scene for the bus. Really good villain in Dennis Hopper. He's very unhinged. Every time he's talking to the police or the authorities, you're just glued to his natural charisma. He plays such a good villain. And Keanu Reeves, I mean, yeah, he does not have quite the gravitas as Harrison Ford, but man, he still is very relatable. Also, Sandra Bullock, come on. I mean, she's just great overall as your plucky sidekick. What else?
1 minute left.
That's all I got.
You don't want to continue?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Matt.
That's okay. All right, Mark, your rebuttal.
I mean, my best rebuttal I got on this is, you know what? This also has a family side to it, because the president has to save his family. And when he hugs his daughter and his wife at the end of the movie, you feel satisfied. A lot more satisfied than you do than Keanu and Sandra kissing. because they can't build a relationship based on intense situations. It's not going to work. And it didn't work because he's going in part 2 and she's with Jason Patrick. What the fuck is that about? So it didn't work. Where we know the president saved his wife and his child. And it's also directed by the Wolfgang Peterson, who's a great director. It's got that going for it. And I don't know, Harrison Ford, I'm just going to keep going back to that. I like Keanu, but Harrison Ford could kick Keanu Reeves' ass.
15 seconds.
That's it. I'm good.
Yeah, well, here's my rebuttal. I don't think Indiana Jones would stand a chance against John Wick. I've never seen Indiana Jones kill anybody with a book like John Wick can. But it just reminded me that Speed has the advantage of being solely a practical effects film and hardly has any CGI. And Air Force One ended with one of the worst CGI sequences that does not hold up at all by today's standards, where you see that jet crash into the ocean and it looks like PS2 graphics.
Oh.
It's like, it's terrible. But when you see the bus explode, that's a real explosion. So, boom, practical effects right there. And that's my rebuttal. Matt.
Good arguments by both of you guys. Mark sought to discredit Speed on the notoriety of Harrison Ford.
A better Die Hard on a plane movie is Executive Decision. That's a better Die Hard on a plane movie.
Maybe, but one thing that I was waiting to hear from Mark was the "Get off my plane," and just how Harrison Ford delivered that line.
Like I said, I saw it one time. Shit.
I know. I felt like that would have been like icing on the cake. Rebuttal. I know you went after the actors, their resume before this film, which is just true. Harrison is the stalwart on that film. So good job. Speaking to Harrison and his accomplishments. Long, I felt like he had a solid opening argument, talking about the suspense and how it was straight through. You have suspense versus bits and pieces on the other film. You didn't spend time attacking the actors. You focused on the film. Good job on that. And on your rebuttal, you did talk about the effects and how they hold up better. So both good arguments.
I swear to God, you give us another draw, I'm going to
just who fucking won.
It's tough. I think Long made a good point on his rebuttal that the CGI is bad, and I almost forgot about it. And before that, I think Mark had it, but once you started talking about how the film held up, I think I have to pick Speed.
Yes.
Just
That's
with
such
the rebuttal.
An unfair argument, though, because a little bit of bad CGI.
It's kind of like listening to the interview from Step Brothers, and then there's a fart that rips out, and it's like the bad CGI was the fart. And, Seth Rogen's like, no, never mind. The suits, are kind of weird. But Long, just by the nose. By the tip of your nose, not the tip of anything else. But Long, good job. You managed to edge out both of y'all being slackers this week, but it was close.
Well, let's run down some news. Tom Watts who directed the Spider-Man films is
yes,
John Watts.
John Watts. He's back. He's not going to direct Fantastic Four. They didn't really say why. It just news came down today that he is not on the project
because
anymore.
It's for boomers. That's why, and he's a Gen X guy.
So Marvel's got to find a new director for the Fantastic Four, and they also announced that they are going to flip flop Ant-Man 3 and the Marvels. So Ant-Man 3 is going to be Marvel's first movie of 2023, and it's going to come out in February or March, and the Marvels is going to come out in the summer. So they're flip-flopping those movies, which was expected, I think, because we all knew Ant-Man 3 had been filming for quite a while. Star Wars Celebration is coming up here in a couple months in Anaheim, and they are starting to release panel schedules. And they leaked out that a new Star Wars animated series is possibly in the works called Tales of the Jedi from the old comic books, and looks to be an anthology-style series. And it had Dave Filoni attached to it as being at the panel. They quickly pulled it off the website, but people caught on, so I think that's exciting. I always thought that I think I've even mentioned on the show that an animated anthology-style series with Star Wars would be really awesome. And so I think it's a good idea to tell some cool stories in the Star Wars universe. We finally have a title for Avatar 2, The Way of Water. And if you go see Doctor Strange next weekend, you're going to see the first trailer for the film. It's, I guess, going to be in theaters. It's going to be in theaters only for the first weekend, and is expected to be online the Monday after. And James Cameron is not giving up on 3D tech. He's pushing this to be, just like he did with Avatar, to be in 3D digital screens. He wants people to see it in 3D in the best screens possible, which is nice, I guess. But I think also the 3D thing has kind of run its course. But, Cameron has always liked to push new tech, so we'll see. It's going to be released in multiple formats, similar to how the Hobbit films at high frame rates, things like that. And the original Avatar is going to have a re-release with a remastered picture in September, I believe, before Avatar 2 comes out. Okay, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's James Cameron, so I'm going to
just want to dethrone Endgame.
Well,
that's all.
And Endgame is it Endgame still number 2 domestically, right? Yeah.
I thought it passed it up.
No, it's
after they stayed in theaters for a little longer.
No, I think it's number 1 worldwide, but I think it's still number 2 domestically.
Maybe that's right.
Behind Force Awakens.
Okay.
But we were texting the other day. It's like, James Cameron, he didn't hang on to the Terminator series. He sold the rights, and Terminator could have went on to be one of the greatest franchises of all time if he had held on to it. And so he's trying to make his own Star Wars, his own saga of films. And I don't hate Avatar. I actually like it. In fact, I think it's a movie we may cover as we get closer to Avatar 2 coming out. I think it would be appropriate to cover the film. But I'll still go. It's James Cameron, so I'll be in theaters to see it for sure.
Yeah.
But do we need an Avatar sequel? No, but I'll still go watch it if that makes sense. So
yeah.
Cinecon is going on this weekend, and Warner Brothers announced that we will be getting a Batman 2. And Long, you mentioned earlier in the show, Pattinson is a big fan of the Court of Owls, and I completely agree with him. I think Court of Owls could work, but you can't. I don't think you're going to have to kind of tighten it up for the comics. I mean, from the comics to the big screen, because the comic story is like 8 or 9 issues long, and it's really complicated and pretty complex. And I think to do that in a 2-hour film, you're going to have to maybe tighten the story up some, but I think it could definitely work. I would be down for that, and the ground they laid in the Batman with there being secrets from the Wayne family and the Arkham families and all that. The groundwork is there definitely for the Court of Owls, so it could be done. And that was some of my thoughts I had when you were talking about earlier. So I think it would be a cool storyline. One of the animated films touched on the Court of Owls a little bit, didn't it? Batman versus Robin. Yeah, it touched on it a little bit. So, but Matt Reeves is coming back and Robert Pattinson, and it's highly expected that they will announce before long that Zoe Kravitz and Colin Farrell will be back as well. And so I'm excited for that to see. As I said, I've been kind of obsessed with this film the last few weeks, so I'm down for more. They're going to make a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. Sony announced Ghostbusters Afterlife was successful enough to warrant a sequel, and I'm good with that too. I enjoyed Afterlife. I think why not? Let's have some more Ghostbusters for a new generation.
Yep. I like the last movie.
Yeah. And it's expected that Jason Reitman will be back to write and direct. So keep it in the family. Sony is going to keep on trekking with another Venom movie. They announced at CinemaCon they're going to begin work on Venom 3. Okay, just hand Venom over to Marvel, man. Let Marvel do their thing with it. You know, it's like, I don't hate the Venom movies. They are what they are, but it's just like, they could be better. And honestly, if it wasn't for Tom Hardy, I wouldn't even watch them. I like Tom Hardy enough that makes me want to watch him because he's a cool actor. But we'll see. And I think I announced this last week that they pushed back into the Spider-Verse 2 into next year, and they're going to call them instead of Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and Part 2, it's not going to be Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse. So, but we got to wait till next year to see him. So that's kind of disappointing. But yeah, we're getting 2 more. And lastly, the Super Mario Brothers movie that I thought was already pushed back to next year apparently was not. It was supposed to be out Christmas this year. It's now going to come out the spring of next year. And the president of Nintendo simply said, we want to make it good and we want to make it the best it can be for Nintendo fans because, you know, they're very careful with their license and what they do. And some people said it was to get away from Avatar coming out, and they said, no, we're trying to make it the best we can. So Super Mario Brothers will be in theaters next year.
Shazam moved to avoid Avatar.
Yeah, Shazam moved back a little bit. And I don't know. I feel weird about like don't get me wrong, I want to see like The Flash and Aquaman 2, but like I also feel like since there's no real DC cinematic universe anymore, like where do these movies fit? Like, do I have to watch Shazam 2 or are they just kind of their own thing now, you know? And I guess they're their own thing now. And Aquaman 2 is going to be weird anyways because they're going to have Amber Heard in it. And I'm going to think about her pooping on the bed.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway. That's all the news I had.
It was a joke.
Who's shitting here?
I'll tell you what, though, before we preview next week's movie, the memes from this trial have been fantastic. The internet has not let us down with the memes from this trial. And that's pretty cool. You know, just when you start to get bored with memes, something great happens like this and you get some fresh new ones. You know?
I agree.
And I guess today there was a comment in court about Johnny Depp's penis. It's like, what? How is his penis even relevant to the trial? You know, it's like, I don't know. It feels like a really bad episode of Jerry Springer. So,
yeah, the fact that Amber Heard's lawyer objected to his own question.
Yes, he objected to his own question. Yeah.
What? What a clown show.
Like Jim Carrey does in Liar Liar.
Right.
Yeah, except under oath.
Ridiculous. Oh, man. Well, next week's movie is a movie that's not ridiculous. And another movie we've kind of had on the radar for a while. And it came out in 1999 and directed by David Fincher and starring Brad Pitt and Edward Norton. And it's the movie they say you're not supposed to talk about it, but we're going to fucking talk about it next week, and that is Fight Club.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can. Why? How much can you know about yourself? You've never been in a fight.
Wait, let me start earlier. Like many of you, I was stuck.
You want me to deprioritize my current reports until you advise of a status upgrade?
Make these your primary action items.
I couldn't sleep.
No, you can't die from insomnia.
I'd flip through catalogs and wonder, what kind of dining set defines me as a person? This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. I prayed for a different life.
Soap. I make and I sell soap.
And this is how I met Tyler Durden.
Come on, hit me before I lose my nerve. Ow! It hit me in the ear!
It was on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Can I be next?
We just gave it a name.
Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club is... Wow, nice. You do not talk about Fight Club.
Is that your blood? Some of it, yeah.
After Fight Club, we all started seeing things differently.
You're gonna have to keep me up all night.
And and she ruined everything.
You're not into her, are you?
No, God, not at all.
We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't.
He had a plan. To what purpose? In Tyler we trusted.
We gotta take Fight Club up a notch. Each one of you has a homework assignment. You're gonna start a fight with a total stranger.
That's not necessary.
You're gonna lose.
That hurt.
You were looking for a way to change your life. You got it.
I'm stopping this.
It's already done, so shut up.
What kind of sick game are you playing? Oh my God.
Where is my mind?
Kids.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? This is too much.
In the end, you will thank me. Whoa! Whoa! If you fight anyone, who would you fight?
Shatner. I'd fight William Shatner.
Yeah, this movie is. I saw it in theaters with my dad, and all I ever remember from the initial screening is the scene where the bed keeps making noise, and he opens the door with the hand glove on his hand. He's like, "What?" And I'm like watching this with my dad. I'm like, "God, this is kind of embarrassing." Just one of those funny stories of seeing a rated R movie with one of your parents like that. But since then, I've seen the movie many times. I've actually read the book that the movie is based on, and big fan of this movie. And it's a movie that's not for everybody. Not everybody really enjoys Fight Club, but most guys do. I think that's safe to say. Women watch this movie and they don't always like it because it's definitely pretty hardcore masculine film, to be fair. And that's not to say there aren't women that don't enjoy it, but that's just kind of how Fight Club is. Mm-hmm. I like the movie. I think it's one of the more brilliant films of the 1990s, and looking forward to talking about it next week. Long, you have seen Fight Club, right? Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but it's $5 on Vudu this week, and I've got it on Blu-ray, so I'm set to watch it and check it out this week. It's been a while since I've seen it. Whatever happened to Edward Norton, by the way? Is he still making movies? It doesn't seem like he's in much lately. I always liked Edward Norton. I always thought he was really good. What was the
last thing I remember him doing was Sausage Party.
Yeah, but there was something I watched and he was in not that long ago, and I was like, "Oh, there's Edward Norton." And but he's always been a good actor. And Edward Norton. Let's see before we get out of here.
Yeah, I am curious as well.
Oh, Alita, Battle Angel. That's right.
I think.
Yeah.
He played the bad guy.
To check out that Michelle Yeoh movie with Short Round.
I want to see that too, but
yeah,
I read somewhere that it's gonna go digital like in a couple weeks, so I might just wait.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
same here.
Yeah, because I do want to see it too, and
I've been seeing interviews with Hee Hae Kwan, the actor who played Short Round and Data from the Goonies. Yeah, he's still very charismatic.
Oh yeah,
Everything
Everywhere All at Once. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I want to see that too. It definitely is cool. So, but that's it for this week, man. Continue to be safe out there. Thank you as always for listening. The RebelRadioPodcast.com is our official website as we get a little closer to episode 300. And until next time, this has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is Long.
Remember, as always, just go there and do it.